Hey traders, Jason Leavitt, Leavitt Brothers. Hope you're well. In this video, I'm going to go through a couple trade examples. Okay, this is how I operate. Okay, there are virtually unlimited ways to approach the market. This is partially how I do it. It's not everything, but it's a good chunk of what I do. Hopefully, there's a little nugget or two in here that can help you out. Okay, the goal here, the idea here, when you approach the market, have a trading style, practice and get really good at it, and then you could size up and make some serious money. But first, you need to establish your trading strategy. So maybe there's a little nugget or two that can help you out. All right, let's go through a couple. All right, so with all these examples, what you're going to see here is you're going to see double panes. These are static images. They're not my trading platform pulled up. What it is it's a daily chart on the left and an hourly chart on the right, and both of them have an MACD and stochastic. So I'm going to show you how I operate here. Okay, so for starters, so we have Chegg here. So number one, we have an uptrending chart. Okay, that's number one. Okay, I trade the price action more than anything else, and what I see here is I see a strong stock that's trending up. I like to buy dips within uptrends. All right, so you have the MACD is stuck at a high level, and you have the stochastic, which is nicely oscillating up and down. Okay, the MACD defines the trend, and then the stochastic is a timing mechanism within the trend. Okay, so while this says the trend is up, you get like a timing mechanism to get long here, to get long here. Okay, so trend is up. I'm going to zoom in on this area and show you, an entry. Okay, so the reason why this area is of an area of interest is one is that the 21-day moving average has supported the stock, here in here. So I was looking for support again there. MACD tells us the trend is up, and then I'm getting a signal right here. So I'm going to zoom into this area and see what's going on. So that area there is this area right here. And what I see here, I see we get a breakout from the stochastic, and yes, I draw trend lines on the stochastic. So you get a breakout on the stochastic, you get the MACD crosses up and trends up. Okay, so it's a nice 1-2 punch of this. This is the trend, and then this is the timing mechanism. So you get a fresh signal here. You have resistance here at like 75, which happens to be very close to the 50-hour moving average. So the combination of the stochastic breaking up here, the MACD crossing up, and then price getting squeezed between the 8 and 21 moving averages here and resistance up here means I'm looking to enter in here, and then I'll probably add over here. And as you can see what happened, stock did really well. Okay, and let me delete these lines. It all starts with just the fact that this is trending up. Okay, that's the most important indicator that I have, is it's just trending up. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, here's FSLY. This has been one of my top stocks this year. I've traded in and out of it several times. So let's go through what I see here. So, okay, number one, just like the last video or last chart, trend is up. Okay, so number one indicator is what's the trend. Chart's moving from the bottom left to the top right. I'm looking to play dips within uptrend. So what I see here is I see stock moves up a lot, comes down, does a little double bottom here and here, and then it starts to reassert itself. MACD starts to converge. You get a higher low here. This crosses up. So I'm going to zoom in here on the double bottom and look for an entry. So I come over here to the hourly chart, and what I see here is I see a stochastic breaks out right there. Okay, MACD crosses up. This is trading in a little base here, right underneath the 50-hour moving averages right here. Okay, so I see it starts to improve. Okay, which is what I like to see. Now, let me get rid of some of these lines. So what you see here is you see a stock breaks up, comes back down and tests, comes up, moves sideways, and then it just continues up. So if you notice here, the MACD crosses up and it stays crossed up day after day after day, hour after hour. And then within that, you have timing mechanisms to get in, to get in, to get in. Okay, so the first move up causes the MACD to cross up, then you get a dip within the newly formed uptrend. The dip coincides with the stochastic cycling down and then re-triggering, and then this sideways motion causes the stochastic to come down and re-trigger, and then this sideways motion, while the MACD continues to give you a long signal, cycles down and gives you another buy signal. Okay, again, the very first and most important indicator is just the fact that this is a super strong stock trending up, and we had a double bottom. And I want to zoom in here, and we get a cross here from the MACD, we get a cross from the stochastic. Then while this is in the trending up, we get timing mechanisms. There's a buy, there's a buy, there's a buy. Okay, and so there's nothing more. It's nothing more than just like helping you time your entries. Okay, sometimes a stock it'll move up and it'll drift down, and so if the stochastic is like starting to roll over here, I'll give it another day or so to allow the stochastic to completely cycle down and then come back up. Okay, because otherwise, if you're just kind of guessing an entry here while the stochastic is moving down, then you end up sitting in a loss for several hours or maybe a day, which is kind of could be uncomfortable psychologically. It could also go below a reasonable level. So if you wait till the stochastic cycles down and re-triggers as a timing mechanism, it just kind of helps you time your entry. It's not perfect, but it's better than just randomly buying. All right, here's Chewy. This is another one that I posted on Twitter. What I see here is I see trend up. Stock was consolidating. We got trend line here, trend line here. So this is nothing more than a 2-month consolidation pattern within an uptrend. Came down to the bottom of its range. The MACD broke out from a trend line here. The stochastic cycled down and re-triggered here. So I'm going to zoom into this area here, look for an entry. That area is right here. What I see here is the MACD crossed up right there and stayed crossed up this entire time, and stochastic crossed up here, basically right there. So while this stayed in the crossed up direction, identifying a trend, you had a little bit of a dip here, a little bit of a dip here, but the stochastic continued to move up, so you have entries there, and then it continued up. You notice it got supported by the 8 moving average, came up here, closed, which was like this day right here, and then it broke out and has done really well this week. Okay, this is one that I posted on Twitter. Just a trade. It's a strong stock in an uptrend. I'm looking to buy a dip, and I'm using the indicators to time my entries, and and then I use the price action to set stops. All right, here's CRWD. Strong trend, up stock, strong stock, uptrend. We have lots of support from the 21 moving average. Okay, does a little double bottom here. So you get a positive divergence. I'm zooming in here, okay, to look for an entry. Okay, again, number one indicator is just the fact that this is a strong stock in an uptrend. That's the most important thing I care about. Getting even deeper than that probably isn't even necessary. Like you could literally have, some people have a list of like, hey, it's got to meet all these criteria in order for me to be interested. And the more criteria you have, the more likely that they're going to contradict each other. If you had one criteria, and that is just, is the stock trending up? Is it moving from the bottom left to the top right? If the answer is yes, then zoom in and look for an entry. If the answer is no, then ignore it. You do great. If that was your number one indicator, you do great. So let's zoom in here. Look for an entry. That is over here. So we got stochastic is trending up, higher highs, higher lows. You get the MACD, which crosses up. I like notice how here it jumped off of a bottom. Okay, so it closed here, and the next day it jumped up to there, tested lower, and then came up, and then spent several hours trading sideways. I actually like that. Some people are, they'll find this stock and they'll say, I'm kind of interested in this, and then the next day it gaps up, and they're like, well, now I can't buy it because it gapped up. It's actually like, if it can gap up and hold that gain, let me get rid of some of these. If it can gap up and hold that gain for a long enough time that moving averages can come up here and then start to support it, that's perfect. I'd rather have a stock that's like suddenly jumps and exhibits strength than one that comes up and then comes back down and you're buying a dip at the lows. I'd rather actually buy a little bit higher price within this type of a range rather than a dip back to here. Okay, so once it gapped up, it moved. Let me get rid of these again. Stock moved sideways into those moving averages that had come down and started supporting it, and then it moved up from there. There was one scary time here where it closed at the low and then gapped up the next day, but otherwise it's been a pretty consistent mover. Oops. All right, last chart. LAUR, education stock, they've been doing well. So here you got a stock that trended down and then broke out and then drifted down again and then broke out. So as it was drifting down here, we got positive divergence there. We have stochastic cross up there. So I'm zooming in over here looking for an entry. Okay, the reason why is because one, some stocks are just not ready to go. This stock broke out over here, but obviously it just wasn't ready to run up yet, so it kind of drifted down again. So I was looking to play like that second wind it got. Plus, this is an education stock, and education stocks have done incredibly well. They're one of the strongest groups. It's not a big group. There's only a couple stocks that are tradable within the group, but because the group is really strong, I was eyeing it. All right, so if I zoom into this area here, that's over here. Okay, and so what I see here is just like the last chart, you see this gap right here? Okay, so like right off the low here, it like gapped up here on the first day, which is fine with me. Okay, I'm not looking for it to like open weak and I want to buy, a dip at the low. That could be kind of scary, but so what I see here is it gaps up, it builds on that strength, and then it moves sideways here. So let me get rid of some of these. So to me, this is fine. It gaps up here and then it moves sideways. Notice that the 21 moving average comes up here and supports it. The MACD crosses up and stays in the crossed up direction for a while. And as a timing mechanism, you have a buy here. You have a little resistance line here, which it took out. You have another buy entry here. Okay, so jumps out of a low, MACD crosses up, MACD stays in the crossed up direction with each one of these each time the stochastic cycles down to give you second entries, third entries if you like miss the first one or if it's your style to add. All right. So again, nothing fancy. I want a trend on the daily chart, and then I zoom in to find entries on the hourly. The MACD defines a trend while the stochastic is a timing mechanism within the trend. Thanks for listening. Come check us out at Leavitt Brothers, where we offer market analysis and trading ideas to the financial community. Also, check out my free masterclass in trading at the link below. All right, see you next time.